open, and the man was pulled in, kicking and shouting. Spider-Man swung toward the robot and landed on its back. He looked for an opening, a weak spot, but the robot appeared seamless. He scuttled around to the front and found himself staring in at a bald man with a surprised expression. "Spider-Man," came a voice over a hidden speaker. "What do you think you're doing?" "Oh, just hanging around," replied Spider-Man. "So you coming out, or do I have to pull out my can opener?" The robot rolled to a stop, and for a moment, Spider-Man thought this was going to go easily. Then he saw the arms of the robot lift up on either side, snapping into attack position. They angled toward him, huge vice grips on the end of either arm. Fortunately, they were moving slowly, and Spider-Man was able to dart between them. He moved to the back of the robot, and the vice grips tried to get at him, but the designer hadn't given them full rotation. Looking closely, Spider-Man saw that there were seams, but they had been welded over. He proceeded to slam the metal surface repeatedly with his fists. Dents started to appear. "You're on the verge of making problems for me, Spider-Man," grated the mocking voice through the speaker. "Guess I'll have to return the favor." The entire robot suddenly began to tremble, then to shake violently. "Oh, man," Spider-Man groaned. "You gotta be kidding me." Seconds later, the robot lifted off the ground. Slowly at first, and then faster. It blasted skyward, with Spider-Man holding on for all he was worth. New York City was a blur below him as his mind raced, trying to figure a way out. The high wind threatened to overcome even his incredible adhesive power. He skittered around to the front of the robot and started pounding on the viewport. "No way you're getting through that," laughed the man within. "That's triple-ply reinforced." But the laughter trailed away as cracks began to spiderweb through the viewport. Spider-Man kept pounding on it, and then his spider sense warned him of danger. One of the vice grip arms was descending right toward him. Just as it was about to grab him, he twisted clear and grabbed it. Using the arm's momentum, he slammed the claw down with all the strength he had. The grip shattered the viewport. The man inside let out a scream as Spider-Man reached in and started to pull him out head first. Don't! I'll set us down!" "Back at the university." "Yes, all right." Within minutes, the robot was coming in for a landing back at the central quad. When people saw Spider-Man astride the robot, they began shouting and cheering. "Let the guy out, now," ordered Spider-Man. The pilot nodded numbly, and the hatch snapped open. A man stumbled out of it, gasping for breath. Spider-Man, meantime, had gotten a solid grip on the front of the robot. He pulled, and the front section ripped away. Gripping the pilot by the front of his shirt, he snarled, "We're having words, you and I." He fired a web line, and seconds later, he was hauling the squirming pilot upward. Octavius sagged against the side of the fallen robot, breathing heavily. People were shoving in close, all asking him if he was all right. "One side," came the angry voice of Curt Connors. The crowd parted, and Connors reached his friend. "Otto, are you all right?" "Truth to tell, I've had better days," admitted Octavius. "What am I doing back down here?" "It was Spider-Man, dude," said one of the students, and others were nodding their heads. "Spider-Man?" Octavius asked Connors. "That lunatic who goes about risking his life helping people?" "Apparently so." Said Octavius thoughtfully. "Apparently it takes a crazy man to stop a crazy man." "You're crazy, man!" The robot pilot was dangling upside down as Spider-Man looked down at him, casually holding a web line that was attached to the pilot's right foot. "You have no idea," replied Spider-Man. "Question number 1. Who are you?" Jack All." Spider-Man stared at him. "You can't be serious." "It's my alias, okay?" "Brilliant. There's a name that'll strike fear into the hearts of millions." "Hey," the guy sounded annoyed. "Like Spider-Man is any great shakes." "Okay, fine." Spider-Man shook him a little. "Who was that guy you grabbed?" "Otto Octavius." Spider-Man kicked himself mentally. How could he not have recognized him? He'd certainly seen his photo enough times in Scientific American, but no sense letting Upside-Down Boy know that Spider-Man was a science guy. "Who?" "Otto Octavius, see?" Jack All passed out. "Man, they're just not making criminal masterminds the way they used to," Spider-Man said to himself as he hauled the guy up to the roof. He lightly slapped his face a couple of times. "Wakey, wakey!" The guy stirred and then gasped as he found Spider-Man staring down at him. "Otto Octavius?" prompted Spider-Man. "Oh, right," grunted Jack All. "He's a scientist. I figured he could be of use to me." "Wait a minute," Spider-Man said, acting as if he were trying to recall something. "Something to do with some sort of energy source?" Jack All let out a dismissive snort. "If you think I care about that, you don't know Jack All. It's the other thing." Jack pulled a pack of cigarettes and a lighter from his pants pocket. "Do you mind?" he said. "Go right ahead, see if I care." Jack nodded and lit up a cigarette. Then he tucked the pack in his shirt pocket. "Bottom line, mate, I'm a merc, strictly freelance. Whipped up that little battle shell there, and it ain't bad. But Octavius may well have outdone me. So I nabbed him because I wanted to pick his brain, find out how it works." "How what works?" Spider-Man said. "The arms, mate, the arms." "What arms? What are you—" Suddenly Jack All flipped the cigarette in Spider-Man's direction. His spider sense screamed a warning, and he backflipped out of the way. The cigarette exploded in a fireball that knocked him clear to the other side of the roof. As he scrambled to his feet, he heard screaming. Jack All was staggering around, slapping at himself frantically. He was completely aflame. Apparently, a stray flame had ignited the rest of the cigarettes. His back leg hit the edge of the roof, and he toppled over. Spider-Man fired a web line, and it snagged him, but the flame sizzled through the gossamer threads, and Jack fell. Spider-Man vaulted from one end of the roof to the other, peered over the edge, and saw the burning and motionless body of Jack lying on the ground. Then people started pointing upward at him, shouting things. "Spider-Man, why didn't you save that guy? Someone down here could have been killed, you freak!" He sighed heavily, fired a web line, and swung away. "The first time I found myself in your arms, I thought I was going to die," said John Jameson. John was a tall, strapping young man with a square jaw and closely cropped brown hair. He was sharply attired, having chosen to wear his Air Force dress uniform for the occasion. John's girlfriend sat next to him in the back of the limousine. She had long red hair and eyes that sparkled with laughter. "Is that supposed to be a compliment?" she asked. "Well, of course. I was so filled with joy that it was all I could do to keep myself from dropping dead with ecstasy. It made it sound like I was some sort of vampire or something. That the moment I had my arms around you, that's when you spotted the fangs and knew you were in a world of trouble." He shook his head. "How is it that someone so fundamentally upbeat is able to come up with a worst-case scenario out of thin air?" "Practice. Years of practice." Her voice had become uncharacteristically somber, and he leaned toward her, nudging her shoulder with his own. "Something bothering you?" "I'm just a little nervous, that's all." She shifted uncomfortably. "The last time I met a boyfriend's father, he was kind of mean. It wound up killing the relationship because my boyfriend took his dad's side. If the relationship couldn't withstand a disapproving parent, then it wasn't that strong to begin with, honey. Ours is made of sterner stuff." "You think?" He squeezed her hand firmly. "I'm sure of it. Besides, my dad has yet to approve of a single girlfriend of mine he's ever met, and never once has a relationship gone bust because of it." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, well, that's great. If it wasn't his disapproval that killed the relationships, what was it?" "Well, jealousy, for one thing. See, I was so much prettier than they were, which isn't a problem in our case," she assured him. "Plus, I wouldn't leave the space program for them." She stared at him with genuine surprise. "Really?" "Really. They'd hear about the accidents and be worried I was going to be blown to bits." He studied her thoughtfully. "So it doesn't bother you, what I do for a living?" "Of course not. It's part of who you are." "You know what, honey? Just say that to my father, and I guarantee you, everything's going to go just fine." Once seated, menus in front of them, J. Jonah Jameson stared at Mary Jane Watson, his eyebrows furrowed. "You look familiar, Miss Watson. Have we met before?" "I don't think so." "I've seen you, though. I never forget a face." "Mary Jane's an actress, Dad," said John helpfully. "Osborne's kid, Harry," Jonah said abruptly. Mary Jane paled. "What?" "You used to go out with Norman Osborne's kid, Harry," said Jonah, pointing at her. "Isn't that right?" Yes. How did you—" "Saw photographs of you with him, and I remember thinking, I wonder if young Osborne is paying for her time." "Dad?" Mary Jane's